this one. Okay, so today we go with the model 2 about the infrastructure and the documentation here. Okay, so when we talk about, when we talk about the component of the structure cabling, you have to mention about this standard here, this standard 568 commercial building wiring standard. It specifies how you run the cable here, vertically and horizontally, and how the connector work, and how the pin location in each cable work here. It's everything about the standard for the commercial building wiring standard. The wiring standard requires the best way to install the network media to maximize the performance. You have the standard, and the purpose of standard is to maximize the performance and minimize the upkeep here. And the principle applies no matter what type media. It doesn't matter. It can be the optical cable, it can be the copper cable, or it can be the wireless also. Sorry, it's not wireless for this one. It's optical cable here. And it is independent for the transmission technology or the network speed are involved here. And structural cabling is based on hierarchical design and assume that the networks are based on star topology. And remember that we mentioned about in the last class that star topology is that you have the centralized device here, right? And you interconnect the device together. You can think about you have the switch or the home router, and you interconnect the device together. You have star topology. Star topology is that you have the centralized device and you interconnect the device together here. Okay, so here it is a diagram. Normally, it's a diagram how it works with one network here. I still not remember that. You can think about this one here. Sorry. You can think about here is your network, right? That's the campus network here. So in order to connect your campus network to the internet, you remember the last time we said that you always have to involve the ISP here. ISP is the internet service provider here, right? You only have to list the transmission. You only have to list the transmission from the ISP because you cannot run by your own. It's too expensive here, right? So you have to list the line from the or you have to list a transmission from the internet service provider here. And for every network, they have the demarc point here. The demarc point is to clearly tell you which one belongs to the internet service provider here. Everything outside of the demarc point here, it belongs to the internet service provider. So anything coming up or down or anything happen to this one, it's not your responsibility here. It belongs to the internet service provider. But anything after this point here, it is your responsibility. You have to control it. You have to monitor your networking. Right? So it's a demarc point. Normally you go into the entrance facility here, and you have MDF. MDF is the main distribution frame. That normally where you locate the router, the server, or the switch here for the local network. Right? And normally think about it is a campus network here. You have more than one building. You have more than one building, and in order to interconnect the building together, for each of the building you have the IDF here. You have IDF. IDF is an intermediate distribution frame. Right? So again, you also have the rack here, and you interconnect the network. You interconnect the device together, and in order to interconnect the building to the main building here, you have to use the backbone here. The backbone, that means you have the backbone transmission here. I think about you can have the 1 gigabit per second or 10 gigabit per second, but normally it's run by the fiber optical because you need a high bandwidth here. Right? And the reason that you have to use the bandwidth you have to use the backbone because you cannot manually run every cable from every single computer to the MDF here. Otherwise, it's a messy here. Right? You see, if you have 100 computer here or 200 computer here, you cannot afford for all of them run all over from the building to the MDF by 200 cable or 100 cable here. It should be better if aggregate it into the one single optical cable. Right? Okay, so now we talk about the engine facility here, the engine facility. So what you have in the engine facility for the building A, you have the engine facility. It's a location where the incoming network, such as internet, connect with the school or corporate networking. That is where to separate which one to the ISP and which one belong to your network here. And you have the demarc location point. That is the device that mark where the telecommunication service provider or the ISP here, internet service provider, network end and organization network begin here. And you have NDF, it's a main distribution frame. It is a centralized point of interconnection for the LAN or WAN network here. Okay, and you have the data room. It is an enclosed space that holds the network equipment, or it's called the data closet or data center or equipment room or telecommunication room. And you have the rack. Rack is the whole various network equipment, and you have the patch panel also. It's a panel of data receptor which can be mounted on the wall or on rack. A patch panel provides a central termination point where many patch cable converge into a single location. Okay. Now to see it how it works for this one, you can think about it's a structural cable inside the building. Inside the building here, you can have both a vertical cable and horizontal cable, horizontal wiring and vertical also. And you have the IDF, the intermediate distribution frame. User interconnects the device on the same building into one single room, and from that room you can interconnect it by the backbone to the main building. Okay, and that is the demarc point here. Remember, the demarc point is where that's separate from the outside network and your own network here. As it's a patch panel here. Patch panel is that, but it aggregate all of the connection in the building into the patch panel here. Okay, so now you have the engine facility in building A. It can, some of the companies, they have both of the data and the voice also on the same network. So we can have the voice over IP telephone equipment. It's the use of any network to carry the voice using the TCP/IP protocol here. Back then, you have the legacy telephone. It is separate network, right? It has separate network, but now you can convert it into the one single network. You can use the voice, you can use the data, or you can use the video online on the single network here. Right? And in order to do that, you might have the voice over IP gateway, you have the voice over IP public branch exchange, or you can have the voice over IP endpoint here. Now that is the main building here. Is that the building? You can think about this. That is the main building. And in the data room in the building B here, you have IDF intermediate distribution frame. Remember, on the main building you have an MDF here. MDF is the main distribution frame, but on the remote building you have IDF, not the MDF here. IDF is the intermediate, intermediate distribution frame. It provides the intermediate connection between the MDF and the end device equipment on each floor of each building. Right? And you have the work area in all of the three buildings. Work area is that you have the workstation. You can have the computer, printer, or other network device, and you have one jack also. You see, you have one jack to plug in the RJ45 cable. Is that one? Right? You can think about this one. Yeah. Think about this one. Okay, so that is a. Remember that some of the company, right? They have a converged network. That means they can use both of the data and the voice on the same network here. So for this one here, you have the voice gateway, and you have the switch. And this one they are the voice IP phone here. IP phone, they have the IP phone. Right? IP phone here is totally working with the digital digital telephone. And you also somehow you have the legacy telephone also, right? You have the legacy telephone. So in order to work with the data network here, you have to convert analog to the digital. Right? So that's why you have the voice over gateway here. Okay, and this one you have for this one you have legacy here and legacy, and in order to convert from the analog to the digital here, you only have to involve the voice gateway. Voice gateway that it convert from analog to digital and from digital to analog. Okay, so that is a workstation branching of the IDF that interconnect with the MDF here. Right? So you can think that is a simple diagram. You can see you have the MDF here, you have NDF. You can think about this one in the main building here, right? Main building. And also for the campus, you might have more than one building. Right? You can have another building, you have another building, you have another building here, the building. And you interconnect them by the interconnect from the MDF to the IDF here, MDF to IDF, MDF to IDF, and MDF to IDF. And you interconnect them by together by using the backbone here. You have the backbone connection here. You have the backbone connection here. And of course, in order to interconnect to the outside world, you have to involve the ISP here. Okay, now you have the definition about rack system. Rack system is where you put where you locate the device, where you mount the device, where to mount the device. Right? The rack system it can be into the 2 ports or the 4 port here. It can be the 2 ports or the 4 port. Right? And it can be the wall or the ceiling mount, or it can be freestanding on the floor, or it can bolt to the floor here. And when you consider the following, when you purchase the rack, the first thing you have to consider about the height. The height that tell you how many space you can mount for the device here. Right? The width here is normally it is in the standard. It is standard. You have the 19-inch framework. So every device for the switch and router nowadays, every one of them is a 19-inch in the wide. So it's a standard. It's very easy for you to mount into the rack here. Right? And the depth also, so how deep it is. And in the data center, normally you have multiple rows of rack, and the hose ice that can be laid out to pour the cool air from the vent to the floor, or from the low-lying wall vent to the row of the rack here. So if you want to take a tour, you can go to the next room here. You have the data center, and you can see how the device mount on the rack and the sub rack here. Okay, so we see that is an open 2-port rack and the enclosed 4-port rack here. Right? So we see this one is standing. You have a 2-port here. You have the 2-port here as self-standing here. Right? You have the 2 ports only. And remember, each of them they have the 19-inch in wide here. That's why every router and the switch they have same standard on the width here. It's very easy for you to mount on the rack. And on the rack here also they break it down on the cell. Right? You break it down the cell number 1, number 2, number 3. So it's very easy for you to do with the documentation, and very easy for you to when you want to do the troubleshooting. You know exactly what is the location of the device in this one. And this one is the 4. It's the 4 port here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and also you have the cabinet for this one. Okay. Remember one thing about the rack and the data center here. You only have to maintain the perfect condition about temperature and the moisture here, because the device is very sensitive to the temperature and the moisture. Okay, that's why you have to always have to maintain the ventilation. You always have to maintain the ventilation. So it's a way to prevent it from the overheating. Okay, now we talk about the cabling. Right? You have the 2 types. Sorry, you have some type cable here. The first one, the patch cable. Patch cable is a very relative short length of cable with connector at the both end. I think I have someone here. Yes, this one. This one you can think about. This one is this one you can think about is the patch cable here. You have very short cable, and you have the terminator at the both end here. They call it RJ45. So normally you have plug one end in the network interpreter, and this other end to the one jacket here, the one jacket. Right? And from the one jacket, you go all over to the ceiling. Sorry, you all go over to the floor, or go over the ceiling to the data center, to the patch panel. Okay, so you have the horizontal cabling. It connects the workstation to the closet data room, and the street to the house in the room. You have the backbone cabling. It is a concept of cable of wireless link, a cable or wireless link that provide interconnection between the actual facility and the MDF and the IDF. You can think about when you want to interconnect from the MDF, the main building, and to the remote building at the IDF here, you have to use the backbone here, right? And the backbone, you have the high bandwidth that because you aggregate all of the connection in the building into one single connection. And you have many network problems as a result of poor cable installation. That's why you have to pay close attention to the quality of the cable connection and the cable management here. Right? So you can see about this one, it is the horizontal cabling from the street and the data center from the workstation here. So when you look on this one, you have the patch cable here. You have the patch cable, or if you interconnect from the panel to panel here, you have the patch cable. And this one you have the horizontal cable here. And normally for the UTP cable here, you cannot have to run more than 90 meters. You cannot have run 90 meters here because it's a longer cable. You have huge problem of degradation of the quality of the circuit, the signal, right? So think about the same with you. If you want to run, right, the longer run, the more exhaustion you are. So at the beginning, you can think about at the beginning you have the bit of the number one here. Number one, you have the 0.5 voltage, right? But you transmit it a long way. So somehow it only has the 0.2 here voltage. So we see the point is a 0.25. Where you distinguish which one is the number one and which one number zero, right? Greater than 0.25, you know that is the bit number one, and less than 0.25, you know that's the bit number zero here. But you see, if you transmit a long way from the number one now, it only have the 0.2. So we can think that is zero here, not one here. That is degradation here, right? Degradation here. Is a signal strength here. Okay, so we see that interconnection here. Normally, you have from the computer, you connect to the wall outlet here. That's the patch panel, right? And if you interconnect from the patch panel to the device or the switch here, also you have the patch cable, right? And in order to connect from the wall outlet to the MDF or IDF here, of the patch panel of MDF or IDF, you have a horizontal cabling here. And normally for the LAN network, nowadays mostly you use a UTP cable here. UTP is unshielded switch pair cable, a switch pair cable here, and you have four pair. You have four pair of them, and each of the pair they have specific color here, and you have to follow the rule in order to terminate to the connector. Right? And the connector, they call it RJ45 here, as RJ45. We can talk about why you have to treat it together later. You know the why you have to treat it later on this class here. Any questions so far, guys?
No.
Okay. Okay, so now we go. We continue with the cable management. The first one is termination here. The termination, when you terminate the switch pair cable, you don't need more than 1 inch of each pole cable before the termination. So that is when we terminate it. So this one is called RJ45, and this cable and you have to follow the rule when you terminate the pin location into the terminator here. And this is the reason that you have to call it the UTP here. UTP cable. UTP is the unshielded tweet pair. And the T here is the tweet here. Tweet here. The reason that you have to tweet that means when see you have 4 pair on this one. You have the 4 pair on this one, right? So normally if you don't tweet together, you see it's a them run parallel here. So when you run the parallel in the thread cable here, you have problem of the crosstalk. They call it the crosstalk here. Crosstalk. Crosstalk, that means the signal leaking from the link to other one. Right? So signal leaking from one to the other one. They call it the crosstalk. And of course, if you have the crosstalk, it totally impacts to the signal quality here. Right? So in order to mitigate the problem of the crosstalk, they have to treat them together. The reason that treat them together here, they treat them together. The reason that they treat them together, they have one pair with the positive and one pair the negative. So when you treat them together, you totally cancel out the crosstalk here. Right? So that's why it's very important that you have to maintain the treat cable here. And when you terminate the cable to RJ45, don't try to untreat it long, right? Because the longer you untreat it, the higher problem of the crosstalk you have. Right? Also, you have the band radius. Band radius that do not exceed the cable prescribed the band radius. That means you cannot band it too much. Otherwise, also the signal also impact here. And for each of the cables, they have specific definition about the band radius. And you have the continuity. Use the cable data to verify that each cable segment transmit data reliability here. Let me take the device here and show you how it works. Our battery already. Sorry. So okay, this one is a cable data. Cable data. So you can test the continuity by you plug in one cable in one end, one end of the cable in one end, and you plug in the other one here, and you can check it if the pins they match together, right? So it's matched together because when you terminate it, sometimes it's very misaligned in the pin location here. So it tells you that match 1 to the 1, 2 to 2, or 3 to 3, and it tells you that the cable here is it passes the continuity or not. And you have the cable covering and the conduit to avoid the layer cable across the floor. Use a cord to cover. It's equal, right? So normally you run all over the floor, you must cover it. Otherwise, you have a wheelchair or something that easily to damage the cable here. And you have the electronic magnetic interference source. In the case that you work in the environment of the manufacturer, you have many machines. You have machine, elevator, or microwave. All of them generate the source of the electromagnetic interference here. It also very impact to the quality signal here, signal quality here. And you have a plenum cabling. If you run the cable in the plenum, the area above the ceiling here, above the ceiling, high or below suffering, make sure that cable sits is a plenum break here. Okay, and also you have you also have the standard about the grounding. You also have to pay attention in the grounding, do it properly, and select in the cable run, in the cable chain. You have many cable in it that you sometimes you have to need a cable chain to hold it together here. Right? And you have a patch panel that to organize the connect the line, and you have the company standard and inventory. And documentation, documentation here. Documentation is very important. So whenever you design the network, whenever you manage the network, it always you have to keep the document in hand. It's very helpful, right? So anything come up, you can look on the documentation here. You can see what is a physical topology, what is the logical topology, and how the wires run out here. Right? Okay, and the last one is monitoring and environment and security. Remember that the network device, they are really sensitive to the environment here. So you have to keep the temperature and the moisture stable here. Normally you have the HVAC system separate from the building. Normally for this one you have to separate, and you have specialized product and monitor the critical factor of the data closet environment. Something is that unacceptable temperature, humidity, and airflow condition. And every data room should be locked with only limited to the IT personnel having TOE. Because you see some of the data center, it control over the campus here. So what happened? Something go wrong here. That's why you have to keep it at very high security here. Okay. This one is electromagnetic interference, right? The layer here. Okay, so you go with the network documentation. Network documentation, you always have to maintain the documentation, and you will have to update it here. Any change in the network, or if you install the new device, new cable, you always have to keep it updated. You always have to keep it updated, and the detailed documentation of the network. So some of the reasons, the first thing is that make communication with the co-worker more efficient. You can think about if you are working with the campus network, it's not only you work on the network, right? You have the team, and when you have the update and detailed communication, very easy for you to cooperate and to communicate together and speed up the troubleshooting effort. That is clearly, right? So by something coming up, you can see clearly what is the location NETI, what port number, and then you can see what is the label of the cable here when you do the label here. Right? And put information at your fingertip when facing the similar problem in the future. And the network diagram, network diagram, you can think about the topology. You have the physical topology and you have logical topology. The physical layout is the physical topology, right? Logical and IP address, the name of major network device, and what's the type of transmission media here. And you have the network mapping. That is the one you work with the homework here. You work with I think you work with the Nmap here. The Nmap is the process that has a network to tell you which IP is available, which port is available here. And you have the Cisco system set of standard. This one is it works the Nmap here. You see your Nmap here. You see which IP address available and which port available. It's very easy to keep track with the process here. And this one is the network diagram using the Cisco symbol. So you can see this one. You can look on this one. Is it the cloud here? Internet. This one is the firewall. This one's the router. This one the switch here. And this one the wireless access point. And you have the file server, printer, workstation, or laptop. That is a Cisco symbol. So when you look on the diagram, you can see what is it. And so look on this one, you know this is switch here. And look on this one, you know this is a firewall here. And the network diagram provides a board. Network diagram provides a snapshot of the network physical or logical topology. It's very useful for planning where to insert the new switch or determining how particular router, gateway, or firewall interact here. And the wiring schematic here. It is a graphical representation of the network-wide infrastructure. See how they interconnect them together physically. And the right diagram also, if you look at the right diagram, you can see where you locate the router, or the server, or the switch. Okay, that is a Y diagram. You see how it interconnect them together between the network device. And this is right here. This is the right diagram. You can see what is where you locate it. This is a switch. That is a patch panel, server, and the UPS. Okay, so you have the sum of definition about operating procedure also. You have some of essential documentation, logical or physical connection as a network. Very, very important. Logical and physical topology. And you have inventory management also. You have to know what you have. You have to control all over the network, what device you have, what type cable, what type device you have here, how many of them. And you have the documentation about the IP address utilization also. Right? So you can see, you can control that what's the IP address for each of the device and what is the utilization here. And also we have to control about the vendor. The vendor, that means you can think about the third party here, right? You can buy it from the Cisco or you can buy it from the HP. And in the case of the problem here, you can escalate it to the vendor here. You go to the troubleshooting team of the vendor. And for every company, you always have the internal operating procedure. You have steps to follow. What you have to do is thing coming up here. You have a policy and you have standard also. And many corporations, they set up the standard operating system, standard operating procedure here to ensure that everyone that consistently follows the process. Or you can have the internal website or database to hold all of this information. So everyone have to follow the standard policy here. And this is the inventory management. You have the system life cycle. It's a process of designing, implementing, and maintaining the entire network. So system life cycle, you can include the removal or disposal of outdated assets, addition of any compatible and updated device. So for every device on the network, you have the system life cycle here. Right? So think about the same. Nowadays, they are not support for the Windows XP also. Everyone has end of life cycle here. Right? That's why you have to maintain all the information here. And inventory management is a monitoring and maintaining all of the assets that make up the network. It's very helpful to simplify the maintaining and upgrading the network and provide the network administrator with the information about the cost and the benefit of the certain type of the hardware or software. Okay, that is also important here, the labeling and naming the convention, right? So you can think about, if you go to the data center, you have 100 of cable. Right? So in order to know which one connected to which one, you only have to maintain the labeling. Right? And labeling and the naming convention here. And you have the tip for the labeling and naming convention. Use the names that are descriptive as possible. You can think about this one here. Think about you have floor, or you have floor 2. You have the switch 1. Something like that, right? So when you see on that one, you know that this one is in the floor number 2, and this is the switch. Up to here is the switch, and this switch here is the switch number 1. Right? So you can clarify which one it is by the naming convention here, and only include the fields that essential in identify the device. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it simple as possible here, and of course make it simple but meaningful. Right? You also have to, and you have to follow the same naming convention. So when you look on the chart, you clearly see that this one is in the floor number 2, and this one is switch number 1 here. And you can think about big picture down to detail and consider any security risks from the detail includes our naming convention. It's not too detailed, not too much detail, otherwise it is a problem of security here, right? Someone by guessing and do with a recognition here, they connect the information, and you can do something harm with the network here. And you can use the color code cable, use the cable tag to identify each cable purpose. Right? It's label the port and the site that cable connect to. So, okay, so here's the thing here. You can think about this one, a patch panel. Right? Patch panel is that interconnect hundreds of devices together. So if you don't label it, it's something going wrong. You're totally in the mess here. You cannot know which one connect with which one, right? That's why you always have to maintain the label on the port and the tag on the cable here. So for this one here, you also label on the port here and label on the cable also. The cable here. So you know that this one matches this one, and if something going wrong, you can easily to fix it out and troubleshoot it here. And you have the diagram of Cisco router. I can see which one is Ethernet, and slot 1, slot 2, and the WAN connection here. Now we have some definition about the business document. You have the some standard business document that you may encounter. The first one is the request for proposal. It's a request to vendor to submit a proposal for the product or the service the company want to purchase. That is the first step, right? So when you design the network here, you have it's a thing that I want to have the network to support for 100 customers. That is a simple example of it, right? So when you think about that, you need to design a network to support for 100 customers. You have to reach it out to the vendor, right? You can think about I might have to buy a switch from the Cisco, or I might have to buy a switch from HP. So that is the first step here. You have sent out the request of proposal. When the request for proposal here, it clarifies that what you need with the network here, right? So you have some specification here. So you tell about how about the switch, how many ports you support here, how many ports you support, and what is the power consumption, or what is the feature? Is support for voice over IP or not, or is a support for video on demand or not? That is everything about the request for a proposal here. That is the first step. You request from vendor to submit proposal of the product here. The second one is a memorandum of understanding. It's a document that the intention of the two or more parties to enter the binding agreement or contract here. That you go to the step of the binding contract here. And you have the statement of work. It's a document in detail work that must be completed in the particular project. That is when you execute the project here. And you have to clearly detail about the document in the work. And you have the service level of the agreement SLA here. It's a legally binding contract. That's already the binding contract here. And you have to follow here. So think about example here, the service provided by ISP that when you sign the contract with the ISP, you request the ISP that you have to maintain the uptime about 99.99% here. Right? So that is a kind of the service level agreement here about the uptime. So if something is a breach, the requirement here, you can have the action to ask them to pay for the price here. Okay, so we have some of the other document here. You have the master service agreement. It's a contract that defines the term of future contract between the party. The example, it includes the payment in terms of arbitration agreement, or you can have the master license agreement. It grants the license from the creator or developer or producer to third party for the purpose of marketing or sub-license or distribute the product to consumer here. Okay. Okay, now I think this one is the last one, the chain management. Right? So when you administer network, you only have require sometimes you require a chain here. Right? So chain is that you need to install the new server, you need to install the new switch, or you want to swap the switch, or you want to upgrade the server here. You have many things. It's a chain requirement here, right? So managing the chain is why managing the network efficiency and available require good planning here. Anytime you do anything with the chain to the network, you only have to do about the impact analysis here. What if happened, right? What if happened if I insert a new router here? It impact to the network or not? And if it impacts, to which extent it impacts the network here? Right? You only have to do everything with the impact analysis here. Impact analysis. So the network user need to know when to expect a certain network resources to be available. And you have a common software and hardware chain range from installing the patch to replacing the network backbone. So it's the same with the Windows. Sometimes we have the patch, right? Patch is also the chain here. And you may also need to know the chain management documentation. Clearly define you what is the step you have to follow whenever you want to do the chain in the network here. And you have the 4 types of the software chain. You have installation, a totally new software. Right? You have the patch, it is about the correction or improvement or enhancement. You have upgrade, it is a major chain to the software package that enhance the functionality and the feature of the software. Rollback also. Rollback that sometimes that you do with the chain, but it's not work as you expected. That's why you have to roll it back to the original version here. And hardware chain includes the adding the new security camera, replacing the workstation, installing the new printer, a lot of things with the hardware. And remember that in the case of any chain in the network, you only have to do the impact analysis. And normally you have to follow all of the procedure here, and you have to work in the window time, or normally in the low traffic time, normally about the 2 a.m. That time you have the less traffic, that you have the less possibility of impact the network. Okay, so it's the same chain management principle applied to any type of chain here. You have to process on chain through the proper channel. You have to minimize the negative impact on the business procedure. You have to plan thoroughly to maximize the chain of the successful chain on the first attempt and document each chain throughout the process here. And you have the chain management documentation. Normally need to following the submit a chain request. The first one is that I want to upgrade the server. I have to submit a chain request, and you have to understand the follow approval process, and you have to follow the project management process and provide additional documentation, includes a network configuration. You have the IP address, transition, addition to the network, and physical location chain. And after that, everything going smoothly, you close the chain here. Okay, so I think that's all for the lecture for this week here. It's very simple for this one. This one, let me see what you have for the assignment here. Any question from you?
I'm fine.
No.
No questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
On install and use Wireshark.
Yes.
There was I've already installed it. I installed it yesterday. So what is this? And should I just skip the installing part?
The question again, that you don't know how to install the Wireshark?
I already have Wireshark, and one of the assignments is called install and use Wireshark. Should I just do the install part, use part?
Yes, is that use the Wireshark here? For this assignment, let me work with you on that one.
All right.
But I don't know. I just installed the Wireshark here, but something wrong with my computer. So go to download. Okay, so let me do first with this one while I'm waiting for the question. Okay, so when work with this guy, work here, you have to clearly follow the instruction on the left here, right? So go to add map or as you see already here, click the download. So we have to click the download. And click the download before gen map, you need to install the recent version of npcap. Click the latest npcap release here. Yeah, right. And then click the more recent distribution 0.8. This one. Alright. Tell you have to click the run here. Yeah, tell you that you have to click on this one. You know what happened? What's going wrong with my computer is not able to install the version. Check it again. Panic. Yeah, it's the project.
You shouldn't need to anyway. It should already be on there. Should already be installed. What's it? No. These are apples. All right. I got a bunch of these one out there. It's just all my address. There's this little pause in between where it tries to go install NP. Switches the screen, but doesn't focus right. So it disappears.
Oh,
So one of those. Telling you though, I just had this on installed.
okay. Okay, so let me come back to the Y sharp first. So you have the hands-on project 2.4 installed and use Y sharp here. So you see when you have the hands-on project 2.4 here, that means you have to go to the book. You have to go to the My tab. You have to locate where is the hands-on project 2.4. Sorry, 2.4 here, right? So in that one, you have to go to.
That's at the end of chapter 2, right?
Okay, so for this one, you have to locate to the chapter 2 here, infrastructure and documentation. I click on the learn it. I click on read here. And click on this one. You will scroll it down. You can see you have the hands-on project here. Hands-on project. What is it? What is the hands-on project for this one? Hands-on project 2.4 install and use Y sharp. Not this one, right? You have the hands-on project 2.4, this one and 2.1. 2. 2.3. Yes, this one here, right? So the first step you have to download and install the Y sharp to your computer. You have to install download the Y sharp to computer. You just follow the step here. Just follow the step here, right? So when you download and install the Y sharp into your computer, you open the Y sharp here. That is the interface. That is the interface of the Y sharp. So when you open the Y sharp, you see the first thing you see that you have the sum of the interface here, right? You have the local area connection 8, 7, 6, and you have Ethernet, and you have the loopback traffic here. So right. But if you look on this one, you see for the 8, 7, and 6 here, I don't have any traffic. Right? So that's why I only have the interface internet here. Sorry, Ethernet here. This is the traffic I go to the internet. And it's up to your computer. Maybe you have the wireless internet, or you have the local internet 1 or 2 or 3. But the first step, you always have to look in the interface, and you have to identify which traffic you have to purchase. You have to put traffic now. Which adapter you have the traffic now. So for my computer, I know that in order to connect to the internet, I have Ethernet adapter here. I see I have the traffic here. See, you have the traffic here. This one is the loopback. It not work in this one here, right? So we have to pay on the first step. You have to pay attention on which interface you have for the traffic at your computer. So for this one, I know that Ethernet here is the interface I have for the connection to the internet. I click on this one. So the first thing I have to choose the correct interface. The next step, if you want to capture here, is just click here, start capture packet here. So you see, you start to capture packet, everything going on. It's a network right now. You can capture on this one here. Or you can go to the, you can go say I bring google.com, I bring it. So you see, right now I bring it here. And if you want to stop it, you click on this one. That is stop here. That is stop here. So you see, on this one, you see you have information about the source IP address and destination address. You have the timestamp also. You have timestamp. You have a source. You have destination. You have the what type protocol and what information here. And for this one also, when you look on the second pane here, you see it clearly observed, very easy to observe it how encapsulation work here. For this one here, right? So if you look on the packet here, you see this one here is that one is a frame, right? The frame 1, and you have Ethernet 2 here. That is a data link layer here. You have data link layer for this one. Data link layer. So in the data link layer, you have what? You have the MAC address or physical address here. You have the MAC address or physical address here. Right? And now this one is the internet layer here. You have internet layer. Internet layer, you have the IP address here, the source IP address and the destination IP address here. And for this one, you have the transport layer here. Transport here layer. Okay, so we see in the transport layer, you have the port here. You have the port number and you have the port number. And the last one is the application layer, the data here. You have the data here. Right? And you can break it down also. You can break it down. Sorry, you can break it down for each of the packet here by click on the expand here. Now think about this one. I want to expand this one. So I see I have the destination MAC address and the source MAC address here, and the type. And if I want to click expand it more, I can click it here. For this one also, I have the IP address version 4, the source IP address, and destination IP address here. Now, see, I just do the ICMP here. The print that means ICMP here, right? So if I want to capture for everything with ICMP only, I can work with a filter here. I put ICMP here. ICMP is the print machine. So you see, I ping it to the 8.8.8.8 here, right? You see, I ping it to 8.8.8.8 here, and I can clearly capture it here. That is my IP address, and that is the Google DNS IP address here, 8.8.8.8. And I can verify it again. I can verify it again by what is my IP address by the IP over here. So when I put IP config, I see I have IP address of 10.2.2.142 here. It's matching with this one here. Matching here. So we see I ping it to the Google, and Google respond me here. And I ping again, respond again, ping again, and respond again here. And you see, you can dig it down. You can dig it down into each of the frame. It's very, very simple by expand information here. Expand information here. And you see this one is ICMP, Internet Control Massive Protocol here. And I click on. So if you look on this one, it clearly see how the encapsulation process works here. Right? So we see from the data link layer, right? Data link layer, you have destination MAC address, and For the internet layer, you have the source IP address and destination IP address, and for the transport layer here. What was the transport layer here? Where the port? Where the port number? Okay, sorry. For the ICMP, it only has the 3 layer equal this one. Right? But in the case of let's think about, I go to the sendgate.com here. Let me capture. Now, if you want to capture again, so new capture, or if you want to cancel anything about the filter, you click on this one. You see, when you apply filter here, it only it only display every message of ICMP only. But if you want to cancel it, you click on this one. It capture for every message here. It's display for every message. Right? And now if you want to capture the new one, you click on this new one here. And if you want to save it or not, it's up to you. Normally I put the continue without saving here. And do it again here. Right? Now let's see what I want to go to the where is it? Okay, I just go to the website. Yeah. Now I want to stop it.
How'd you get the IP address to appear in the command prompt?
Okay, so in the command prompt, you have IP config here. Sorry, config here. That is command, and you hit enter. And you hit enter, you have the IP address of your subnet mark and the default gateway. Default gateway, that means the router. Router that is gateway here. Where you want to go to outside world, you have to route it to the router.
Okay.
Or you have IP config and space and /o here. You give you more information. Or here, give you more information. So for this one, you see, you have information about the physical address also, not only about the IP address, right? You will have information about DNS server also. Okay, so now come back to my example. I just go to the website here at dnexpress.net here. And I know that for every web service here, it's a protocol HTTP, HTTP. Okay. HTTPS, and you can see what is going on with all of the web here. So I can look at this one. So I know this IP address for this guy is 11.65.250.2. Okay. And sometimes it depends. It depends on IP address, or you can filter based on IP address also. I should think about this one. If you want to filter from my computer to the 111.65.250.2 only, I can go to the IP address here. I can go to the IP address. Yeah, this definition here. So I choose the definition IP address. I right click on that one. I click on the apply a filter. I click on selected here. So see, right now it only capture for any packet with the definition 11.65.250.2 only. So it's very easy for you to do with the troubleshooting and analyze a program here. Okay, so that is a very basic instruction about the Wireshark. Now come back to this one. The first step, you have to know which interface you connect to the internet. Right? So sometimes it might be Wi-Fi, sometimes it might be Ethernet or local interface, whatever it is. This one you ping to the edge here. Again, if you ping to the edge here. Yeah, let me capture it again. Let me clear all the filter here and capture it again. And I ping it again. Stop it. So you can see what now you want to filter it, right? Instruction here. Okay, or you can set the coloring rule. It's up to you, totally it's up to you. Or you can filter here, HTTP or ICMP. Filter. So HTTP is about a web service, everything about the web service. ICMP about the ping here, ping message. So for this one, if you want to filter on the HTTP or ICMP, so see everything here. For this one, it only has the ICMP. And you see, I ping from my computer to the Google DNS here, 8.8.8.8. Okay. Okay, so we see how the layer work here, right? If you look on the in the middle panel here, if you look on the middle panel, you see how the app encapsulation work here. So we see this one frame and Ethernet 2 is a data link layer. This one is the layer 3 here. You have IP address here, and this ICMP is also in the layer 3. For this one, it's only ICMP message. That's why it's not involved in the transport layer. It's not shown in the transport layer application. Okay, so in Sky, TCP/IP, right? So think about in the case of the, let me see, let me capture it again. Okay, so now you want to filter based on HTTP. You can have the HTTP here. Or you can click on this one here. Right? So you see, you can click on this one, you can filter based on the protocol. It's up to you. CMP, DNS, and you can scroll it down. Okay, so this one is about the TCP, not TCP is also HTTP here, right? So now let's see what happened here. Yeah, right. Let's see. Okay, so we see for this one here. If you look at this one, you can see this. It's about the three-way handshake in the TCP here. You have the scenes, you have the scene and act, and you have action. We'll talk about it later about this one, about the TCP. But remember that TCP and UDP, they are the layer 3. Sorry, they are layer 4 protocol, the transport layer. And TCP is about the connection oriented. That means before you transmit it, you have to handshake with the destination. You have to agree on information before you send. But for UDP, you just send it out. You don't care if they come in the right order or not, or you don't care if you lost during the transmission or not. Right? But for this one, we have the TCP here. So we see the first step is you have the SYN here. Since request for this one, you have the sequence number 0, right? The sequence number 0 here. And now this guy answer you, right? This guy, when he answer you, what you see? You can see about this one here, when he answer you here. Right? You have the sequence number 0 and acknowledgement. Sorry, the next sequence number 1, but That means he expects the next one number 1. So for the TCP, you keep check everything about sequence number. That's why you maintain everything in the order here. When it comes to repetition, you can reorganize it into the original order. Okay, so I think that is very simple assignment only. I will just follow the step to do with this one. Now come back to this one here. This one I want to instruct you again with this one. So remember when we work with the sometimes I have to do it again. Yes. So for this kind of homework, you have to follow exactly what you are, instruct in the instruction here. For this one, you go to the download here, so we have to follow it clearly. You go to the most recent version of AppCap, this one here, and you go to 0.98 version. That's this one, and you run it. That yes. I tell you that you have to work in AppCap API compatible mode. That's why you have to click on this one and install it. Okay, so now you see you have to click it back, right? Internet. This one. It is the so you see, it asks you to replace with the version here or not, and it tell you, right? It tell you no. You have to follow the instruction. No. So you see, you already install the ZMap here. So the ZMap is a program. It's very helpful for you when you work with the design the network or when you troubleshooting here. It can tell you which IP address available and which port available for each specific IP address. Right? So for this one, the first one you put localhost here. Localhost, that means your own computer, right? And for this one, you click scan here and click scan. Okay, so that is a localhost, your own computer. That every localhost you have 172.0.0.1, your own computer, your own local interface here. So right now, we can tell you which port is available for this one. You see, you have a port 135 TCP, you have a port 445 TCP, 445 is HTTPS here, web traffic here. And you have the 3389 and 53 57. So right now you have the 4 port and all of the TCP open here. So we see it very helpful when you work with when you design the network or when you troubleshoot the network. So you have the desktop here, local, right? Okay, so we tell you minimize here. Minimize. Now you have to check for this one. You have to check to know what is your IP address. So we have to go to this command server here and put the IP config here. Enter. So when you look on this one, you know that your IP address here is 10.0.0.93 here. So I think that strongly recommend you that for subscribe work, you try to capture everyone, try to capture. So maybe sometime we come back to see you have a solution for the answer here. Copy it and you paste it in the word file. And paste it here. So now I know my IP address 10.0.0.93. Minimize. Okay. So in that you have to put it everything 10.0.0.1 all over to the 254. It's your local network here. Scan. Right. So see, I want to test every IP address from 10.0.0.1 all over to the 254. So I can see which IP address available now. So on the left, you see you have one, we have the 62, 93, and so on. All of them here right now available. Right? So you can scroll to the upper in the left panel. Now the number of IP address in your subnet. Exact. Now see, I want to capture it again with my signal here. Create the word. Okay, so now I set the port tab here. Yeah, this one. The port. Click the IP version 4 for your wireless connection because connection you have 93. Have 93 your port and it's more detail. Yeah, right now I have the 5 port, right? 5 port open. Sorry. Detail here. Okay, you can capture it again. Capture it again here. Copy and paste it into the word. You will come back later to find out what is the answer for the question. So it's nice. Right here. Pick this one. Import open port. One detail. This one. Okay, so I want to capture this one. Want to capture this one also. Okay. Detail. Yeah. Close them. Stand by. Close anyway. Nice. Okay, so see now it's your question. It's so easy for you to look it up. Find what is the answer for the question here. So on the subnet, how many IP address was scanned in the slide profile and the only numeric number? What do you think? How many IP address is scanned?
254.
Yeah, everything from 0 to 1 to the 254, right? Sorry, everything from 1 to the 254. Here, you see, you have everything from the 1 to 254. That's why you answer here 254. All right. Which port I survey will filter on the whole? Okay. Which port and the survey? So we can look it up on the local host here. Right? Where my local host? think I not capture the local host. Sometimes you have to capture everything. Oh, I forgot to capture about the step of the local host already.
I think I took a note of it.
Anyway, you just follow the step, right? You just follow the step to do it. Right. So you can look it back here. You can find the answer for this one. Yeah, on the port here, how many port were open? Right. Enter the only here. So for the 254, you can go back on this one. What is it? 254 here. Yeah. So no, that's this one. That's this one. One. This one. 254, right? Only one port open. And close 99 here. You scan for 100 port, but only one port open and close for 99. And the port open is a 49, 152 here. So I just instruct you how to work in this kind of the assignment. So for this kind of assignment, strongly recommend you that you have to capture the screen and paste it in the Word document, and you can come back to look into the answer for the question later when you have the question here. Okay. Any question from you? Hello?
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, so the ZMap is a software. It's very helpful for you to test what is available IP address, and for each specific IP address, what is available port. So sometimes it's also helpful for the hacker, right? You see that they can do the ping swapping, so he know which IP address is available in your network, and for each IP address, he knows that which port number is available, and he can easily do the attack your network here. Okay, so for this one, organizational, what is it?
Oh yeah, when can we go back to the one other assignment that we were working on earlier? The what was it called? One second, try and pull it up.
Why shot?
When can we go back to the OSL model assignment that I was struggling with earlier? That we couldn't get to work.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just having a couple problems with getting it to work, getting it pulled up and completing it.
Okay, so that is OSI model. You have the 7 layer here: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical here. And it also have the definition about you, right? What is the physical, what is the data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application here. And you compare between the OSI model and TCP/IP model. I already mentioned it on the class already. Now, what is the next? Data encapsulation and de-encapsulation. De-encapsulation. Let me power on.
Okay, it won't pull up that for me. It won't pull up a screen for me.
Okay. So you have to escalate it to the my tab.
What?
You have to escalate it to the my tab team. To the Cengage support.
Add to contact Cengage support.
Yes. You have to contact
Okay.
it's out of my hand. I cannot do it for anything with this one. Sorry about that. Okay, so any other question from you guys? Hello?
Nope.
No.
Very good.
Okay, so let me check the attendance here. And remember that anytime if you need help from me, you can send me the email or you can join my office hour. Remember my office hour from 9 to 11 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday. Or if you are not able to join the office hour, you can send the email. Okay. Mark, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Eileen,
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Tyler here, Daniel here. Kalibi here.
Yeah, I'm here. You can take a note. I normally go by Kelly, make it easier to pronounce.
Matthew, are you here?
I am present.
Max. Hello? Max, are you here? Mike George. Jack, are you here? Smith, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Thomas, are you here? Hello, Thomas. Michael, Michelle, sorry. Okay, so if you don't have any question, you can end the class now, and see you guys on. Let me see what is what you have for Wednesday. Okay, so for Wednesday, I strongly recommend you log into the Net Academy and you go to the log into the Academy and you go to the this class here. You go to the NETI 104 free class and I strongly recommend you watch a video from the chapter 1 to 4 before you go to the class. From the chapter from 1 to 4. Yeah, you have chapter 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And what else? And remember that you download and install the packages on your own also. Okay, so I think that's all for today. And see you guys on Wednesday.
All right. Thank you for your time. See you next time.
Bye. Have a good one.
Thank you.